Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is episode 56. My name is Zach, and as always, I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
And my best friend, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, I feel like you cranked that music real loud, and then it just went out in my left ear.
Yeah,
it went out in my left ear, too.
Yeah, I was about
Way to go, Jake.
I was about to say, I had the intro music a little too loud in our ears. It's never that loud when it goes, like, finally to post.
Yeah, so all the people listening are going to think we're stupid.
Oh, God, what are you doing?
I was fixing the ears.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
But
if we didn't have you.
Nobody move.
It was a little loud, and, like...
It was really loud.
Well, I'm a firm believer in the louder the better.
I don't know
That applies
about
to
that.
all things.
My ears are ringing.
Is that how you, like, the girls you date? Just the louder the better?
No, that's not always the best idea.
You literally said all things.
All things.
You know what? You're right.
All of the things.
The louder the better.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
gross.
when you're out in a restaurant, they're just wanting everyone to know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, let me tell you about my day.
Yeah.
Or
like that.
or when the waiter comes to get your order, like you're
Chicken!
Like, you're like, you know, I'll have the salmon, and
Salad!
she's like, I'll have the chicken.
The way you're doing it is, she sounds a little remedial. Like she's not all there.
Fries!
She just does one-word sentences.
That's not funny because it makes it sound like she has like Tourette's or something.
The side of ranch!
That's okay. That's 4 words. Oh, 5 words. That's the biggest sentence she's had so far.
No, man, I like it loud. I like them loud.
God.
Let's get loud in here tonight, man.
I mean, we're in a small room.
It makes everything louder.
Yeah, everything's already loud in here.
I just want to apologize in advance, though, because I can smell my scent right now. I stink
What?
really bad.
I can't smell anything.
But I just came from the gym.
Did you think the people
Why would
listening
you
can smell
come
you?
into my house being smelly?
I'm apologizing to you guys because I just smell like body odor. But if you guys can't smell it and we're in tight quarters, then thank God.
I really can't, honestly.
I can't smell anything, but also I've been outside showing houses all day, so my nose is a little bit stopped up.
And by all day, she means after 4 o'clock.
It was all afternoon, and it's been storming
It
and
was
raying
4 to
all
6.
day.
You should have started.
We went out of town. We went to 2 outlying cities.
You should have started that with lies.
I should have. Yeah, so before we get into the free agents...
Everybody needs to know that I was working while Zach was taking a nap.
Because I worked all morning long.
I worked all morning long, too. I left one job and went to the other.
Oh, well, you worked all morning long, and you worked all evening
You did
long.
too.
I worked all live long
Yeah.
day. All right?
Yeah. on the railroad, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Before we get into free agents episode 5,
Yeah.
we do want to let you know, if you aren't a patron, we did just launch a new show on our Patreon that is definitely exclusive to Patreon.
That's right.
So if you're not paying, you're not listening.
Well, I mean, that's not the only thing you get out of it, but we do have now 2 separate shows that are only on Patreon, on top of these like weekly shows we do here for free on iTunes, Spotify, and all that. But we have our normal Redemption House podcast, which is challenge adjacent, because we talk about challenge related stuff, but we take questions, kind of a Q&A type thing.
Right.
And sometimes we'll have, like, we had your brothers on once, we had Logan on from Rotten Banana. And so that one we do every so often, but then we just started one where we're calling it Watching Heads.
Yeah.
Because but like instead of the way we do this show where we watch an episode, we take notes, we come back, we recap it. This one we're giving live, uncut thoughts as we're watching a show.
That's right.
Like we have it pulled up on the monitor and we have the mics in front of our mouths. So whenever we have a reaction to anything, it is recorded.
Yeah, it is a watch along.
Yeah.
And
so it's best that you watch while you listen.
Although that was the initial intent, was
Right.
that we tell you, hey, start hitting play here, watch it along with us. We're watching it on Hulu, so we know some people have ads like we do, so we tell you when the ads are. We count you down when we're coming back in. But we've had some people that have already like binged a few episodes, and then they're just listening to them.
Hey, man, whatever.
Yeah, and they said because they've already watched it recently,
Yeah.
that they know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Whatever floats your boat.
yeah, I mean it was really fun. We've only done 1 episode so far. We're doing Rock of Love right now, season 1.
It's wild.
Very wild.
Yeah.
I forgot how much of a train wreck that show is.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah,
That's the word right there.
that's a lot of words. But yeah, that show, I watched it when it came out. I guess 2004, 2005. Haven't seen it since, and it just like floods back to you when you're watching
Such a
it.
hot mess.
You know, some of the people on our Patreon said that they'd forgotten it, and I told them it was like a repressed memory, like how you, like if
Like
you have a traumatic experience and you like your brain just shuts it off from you.
Yeah, your body like hides it away.
Yeah, and
so
then
that
as
you
soon
don't
as
ever remember it.
someone exposes just a little bit, it just floods all back. And this show
Well,
is like that.
I've been trying to get my mom to become a patron.
Yeah, explain why
So-
we're watching Rock of Love.
I have a particular attachment. I don't know that I'd call it a special attachment, but a particular attachment to this show.
Maybe
because-
like an affiliation.
an affiliation because my mom, you know, she got pregnant with me at 17. She was a young buck. You know, she could have been on Teen Mom. Am I right?
Speaking of, there was a Young Buck reference on Free Agents this episode.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was back in the day. She was a big Poison fan, and in particular, a big Bret Michaels fan. You know, like most ladies back in the day, found Bret Michaels extremely attractive.
You know, I can't say that I was surveying a lot of ladies back then, so I don't know if it was most ladies.
I feel like it was. I feel like a good, you know, portion of the population found Bret Michaels attractive.
I don't think I ever did.
Well,
you weren't alive.
That generation of
In
women.
2005?
No, he's talking about when his mom was pregnant with him.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah,
25, 30 years ago.
Let's be honest on the front end. Like when this show was filmed, he's past his prime.
You know,
Way
he's
past.
actually younger than what you would think at this
but
point.
that proves my point.
How
Yeah.
old was he during season 1 of Rock of Love?
Early 40s, I believe.
Jeez,
Yeah,
I
so-
thought he was like 56.
So anyway, my middle name was actually given to me after Bret Michaels. So, in case you missed that, my middle name is Brett. But my mom decided to add a T, so there's two T's.
So it's to
So
Brett.
nobody would know.
To Brett.
Well, the extra T's at the end. And so anyway, this show comes on and my mom's losing her mind.
Oh man, but Rock of Love premiered in 2007. I thought it was like 4 years earlier than that.
Is that right?
That's what it says on Wikipedia.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
when this show was premiering, my mom got extremely excited over it. So, you know, as any good son would do, I watched it with her. I was 17 at the time.
I watched it when it came out.
And then
Were
there
you
was...
with them?
We might have watched some of them together. It
with
was
him and his mom?
it was in the summer of 2007, so we would have been hanging out.
And then there was another show that he did that aired in 2013, Rock My RV.
What?
I don't know that one.
And my parents now, they love RVs. They had an RV at one point, so she was particularly excited about this show. Plus, it's got Bret Michaels and RVs. So
Hey.
it's right up her alley.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're watching this show because, you know, I've got a little bit of an attachment to it. And
But
plus, it's just...
But even if you're not named after one of the stars of the show, it is like,
Emphasis on the one of.
man, it is. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it is so crazy. And we're only one episode in.
Well, and going back to my mom, I've been trying to get her to become a patron.
Yeah.
And I actually tagged her on Facebook.
I saw
shared
that.
our post, and I was
saw
like,
that.
maybe this will give you good reason to
She
join.
liked it, but she didn't.
She
Do you
didn't
think
come.
she's...
haven't heard from her.
She hasn't listened to it because she's not a patron.
That's right. So
Do you think that she would be curious enough to say, "Hey, let me
can I call
listen."
her up real quick? Can we do that
If,
real
No.
fast?
If you want, I mean, we're gonna
Real
have,
fast.
Yeah.
We don't have
All right,
time.
We're gonna make this fast. Here we
Well,
go.
while you're dialing, I will say after watching the first episode of Rock of Love, I was tired. It wore me out.
It was like an hour and a half premiere.
Mom.
What?
All right. So first off, you're on the podcast right now.
Oh my God, Jake.
Well, I just have one question I need you to answer. Because I thought I could loop you in and get you to become a patron by us doing the Rock of Love watch along, but you've still yet to become a patron. Why is Bret Michaels not enough, and your son not enough to become a
fair,
patron?
it just came out yesterday.
Jake,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to become a patron.
Well, if I assist you with that, would you want to become a patron?
You hook me up.
Oh, so we're doing it.
And then she can listen to the Bright Michaels episode.
Bright Michael.
I said Brett.
Okay, so wow, this is a big week for you. You got a dog, and you're gonna become a patron. All right. Well, I didn't want to keep you. Do you have anything you want to say to the masses?
To the masses.
Yeah.
Well, did you tell them who you were named after?
Oh,
We've shared that story. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the most important thing.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you tell them what I usually tell them at the end of our show? Why don't you tell everyone to have a good night?
No, not just a good night, the best night ever.
God, you one
There
up
we
me.
go. There
All
we go.
right, Mom, you just took my spot on the show. All right, love you, Mom.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
So
That's my mom.
just keeping up.
She's got a good
We've had
voice.
your
She does.
grandma on the show.
That's right.
We've had your dad on the show.
Right.
We've
Had
had
your-
both of your brothers in person on the show.
Yeah, your brothers in person.
Well, there's one more brother.
Yeah, but then now we've had your mom.
Right.
I mean, we're just working through your whole family.
Do you think Gunnar would come on?
He likes to be left alone.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
By the
okay.
way, you do have another brother that we've talked about on another show.
Oh yeah.
On one of our Redemption House
On our
pods. but-
podcast that we
but-
used to be best friends with that none of us ever hear
But
from
listen,
anymore.
if we're making our way down the line, maybe it'll come full circle.
God only knows with that
You
one.
know how weird it would be if we called up him and were like, "Hey, you're on our podcast," because I don't even think he knows we do it.
It would be incredibly awkward.
Yep.
Does
Not
he
gonna
even
do
know that
that
you're married?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, nobody knows anything about anybody.
We literally talked about the last time I talked with him. He was like, "Hey, I can't come to your wedding."
I wonder if he knows I'm divorced.
That's what we don't know.
We don't know that.
There
Yeah.
we go. There we go. Because last time you saw him, you guys were together.
We were. We
Like
were married.
like you guys went to see them.
Not happily married, I don't think, but we were married.
Anyway, let's get into free agents. By the way, we didn't ever plug it. Patreon.com/SmashingHeads podcast.
There it is.
Go sign up.
It is.
And our website, which houses everything.
Yeah, SmashingHeadsPodcast.com has links to literally anything and everything that we do.
All right. Well, we just made someone really mad that we had this open be so long. So
It's not too bad. We're like 12 minutes in.
somebody's ticked off right now.
It's probably Shane.
Take us in.
Shane is always angry. But, all right. Free Agents, episode 5.
Yeah.
CT's training Kara.
I always have a different opening note from you.
Yeah, and I always, every show that we've been doing like this, I say the title, and then I'm about to say something, and then she jumps in with something else.
No, you said the opening title, and then you took a breath and you just looked at me.
No,
So I jumped in. I don't want dead air.
there wasn't going to be.
Well, regardless, he's training her, and I thought that was interesting because he's got her on the treadmill, and he says, "Are your legs burning it?" She said, "No, they're fine." And he's like, "Oh, well, that's good." And she said, "What does that mean?" It made me think, her here during this time versus now, where she would be training others. You would think, because she's like a CrossFit beast. I wonder if this was like the stepping stone to that.
I mean, we've already talked about this season is like a big proving ground for her, and then from here she kind of like morphs into what we see. What was your opening note?
I mean, we're starting to get the Jordan Bananas build up.
Yeah, I did have something before that, but basically she just was talking about how she's gone into the draw 4 times in a row. So for every elimination, she's gone into the draw, and she has done 2 of them. Like she's pulled the card at least, and on the other one, did she get voted into one?
I
don't
don't remember, but she said she's faced 4 so far.
Yeah, she's been in the draw 4 times up to this episode, which we're only on episode 5. So, but it is setting up the Jordan and Bananas. That was the next note I had, like right off the bat. And so we'd seen this season previously. I thought, spoiler for a 5-year-old season, I thought this was going to be an elimination where Jordan and Bananas face off this episode because I couldn't remember what happens.
Nope, you jumped the gun on that one.
But they are setting that up.
They are.
They're definitely setting that up because it goes back and forth the whole episode.
Do you think they hate each other so much because they are so similar? They both have really big egos. They're very prideful. They're very boastful. Do you think that's why they dislike each other? Like you can't have 2 of them in the same room because it's just too much.
It's weird because, like, the only other seasons that Jordan has been on, that we've seen him on, was Rivals 2, and then was it Vendettas?
I think this is Oh, you talking about total?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been on, I think, more than that.
Has he been
Yeah.
on more than that?
Yeah.
Because he
Up to this point, he's only been on Rivals 2.
Right. I want to know what else he's
I'm
been
looking.
on.
Well, he's been on the one where Tori and Derek Henry came on together. Their first season, they just came off of Are You the One, and they were together in Lovey Dovey. And then by the end, Tori and Jordan were together.
I don't think he was on Dirty 30. I don't think he was on Vendettas.
I knew it was one of those two.
Yeah, because that's the one he won.
So he's only been on 3, right?
4.
What was
Rivals 2, Free Agents,
Yeah.
Battle of the Exes 2, and then
Who was
Dirty
his partner
30.
there? I've never seen
Who
that
was
one, I
his
don't
partner?
think.
Sarah, maybe? Let me
Was
look.
it?
Yeah, Sarah
Okay.
Sarah who?
Rice.
What?
All right. So still,
What?
still, my point applies because it would have stuck out to me that this is the only season where he's been really like on his high horse.
And arguably,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at, this isn't going to give much away. Rivals 2 made the finals. Free Agents, no. Battle of the Exes 2, 1. Dirty 30, 1.
Yeah.
Worst season, but his most loud season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what it is about this season where he's just super.
It's not his
like,
first season, is it?
It's his
No.
second one, but
Second.
he did make it to the final on Rivals 2.
Yeah.
And so I think this is his second season. He's like, hey, I made the final. I know what I'm doing. This is easy. And so he's trying to like prove himself. This is kind of on the tail end of the Johnny run, but Johnny still does win a couple more.
Yeah, but not consecutively like he did in years past.
No, but I mean, Johnny's the face at this point.
It's also a bad hair season.
He's
Yeah,
still
we
really
talked-
good here.
Yeah.
I
He's really
just
good.
want to reemphasize that. Not a good hair season
Yeah, I mean,
for
this
him.
I'm not gonna like really talk about it yet, but this elimination tonight, I was like, physically, they are like 1-to-1 ratio. Like they should be a good matchup, and it just wasn't even close.
Disappointing.
But yeah, so setting up the Jordan Bananas thing, but we get into the daily. It's called Piggyback. There's 2 teams of 10, so it's just a 2-team challenge. And
Just split right down the middle.
the main thing, which I wrote down, which comes into play later, you have to touch all the ropes with 2 hands as you're working your way across. And so one person goes, and then the second person has to crawl over person 1 on rope 1 and get to rope 2 and so on and so forth until you move everyone across. But you have to touch all the ropes with both hands to make it to the final platform. TJ picks captains just randomly. It's Johnny Riley and Camilla. And they just alternate like we've been doing this whole season, boy, girl, until it comes down to Preston again.
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, there were 4 girls left. It was John A., Jasmine, Jessica, and Devin left. Normally, John A. and Jasmine are the last 2. And Johnny Riley picked John A. over the other 3 while Jessica was still in the lineup.
He doesn't like Jessica at all. Real World Portland hate each other.
Or Devin.
Yeah, but Devin's not very good at this type of stuff. Devin's a great personality, but this type, I mean, you saw
Yeah,
her.
but still, Devin gets picked over John A. and Jasmine every time.
Yeah, but she also, like, Jasmine did way better than her this one. Like, Devin doesn't have any upper body strength. Jasmine's just tiny.
I thought it was interesting because just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you potentially put your team in a worse position than the other. Because Jessica, I mean, she's proven that she can perform, but he made his second mistake by once again picking Swift over Preston.
Yeah, I mean, Preston does good in this. I mean, ultimately he DQs, but
he made it all the way across.
Yeah, so they go. Preston's the last guy. Devin's the last girl.
But to your point, Hannah, like I feel like those 4 girls in particular are looped in. I feel like there's not a wrong choice, like as far as who you pick.
I feel like Jess.
That's just my opinion.
I feel like Jess is slightly above those other ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm going through. So one of the seasons I'm watching through along with this one, just on my own time, is Rivals 3, and she just saying.
See, I don't remember her from Rivals 3, but at least on this one, she's already done the log thing at the very first challenge. Like, she's done some stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Johnny and Jasmine haven't really done anything.
If this is your first time seeing Jessica perform in a challenge season, she's done pretty well so far, at least.
She's been okay. I think she's been better than those other 3.
She's been better than you expect her to be, for sure.
But you still you associate, even with her size, like Jasmine as a girl who's got a lot of fight. It's what I
Yeah.
think.
She's got so Jasmine's kind of, to me, like the Chihuahua type, where
Yeah.
it's a lot of noise, but not
She's
anything
really
to back it up.
little.
I mean, this elimination was probably the most pitiful one-sided elimination I've ever
but
seen.
I mean, you knew that's how it was going to turn out.
But like Jasmine's not. She's just not a force.
I know, and I'm not claiming her.
You
to
can say
be.
she's a fighter, but I would pick Jess over her any day. Yeah.
I'm just thinking. My point is, I think you can make an argument for any of the four. I feel
Yeah.
like they're all kind of looped in together.
Now I will say, out of those four, Devin, like if just on personality wise, you'd pick Devin. But
she doesn't do pull-ups.
yeah. And
Well,
this
that's
is
the whole
all
thing.
upper body strength.
She said, "I don't do pull-ups. I know it looks like I do, but I don't do pull-ups." And I really felt that on just a spiritual level.
So the purple team goes first. They're working their way across. You got some.
No, I didn't
Okay.
know if you wanted to.
You can.
I didn't know if you were going to name out the team. Should we do
I
that?
You can name off teams. I have the list in the order that the people fell.
Okay, well, this team consisted of, this was Johnny Riley,
Yep.
Teresa, Zach.
By the way, Teresa's an odd first choice. I mean, she's not bad, but it's just
I mean, she was balling the first night, man.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
That's first pick status right
Yeah.
there. But Teresa, Zach, Cara, Jordan, John A, Leroy, Jess, Swift, and Devin.
a pretty good team, honestly. So they're going. Obviously, every time you go first, there's a disadvantage because you're trying to figure it out. It was interesting that the yellow team was talking about how slow they were going and all this other stuff when ultimately it didn't matter. Devin falls right away.
She doesn't do pull-ups.
She's just gone.
It was really sad because her hair got wet.
Well, I mean, she knew that was happening. It's over
Yeah,
water.
but she really didn't want to get wet in this one.
Well, she did. She
Also,
fell.
neither did Cara. Cara, this is when she kind of told us it's like a cat over
Well,
water.
she's afraid of heights and
Well,
water.
so here's the
She's
thing.
afraid of heights and water, and it's a combination of both.
Here's the thing, though, is that I wouldn't classify this as a complaint. Cara is now known as a complainer.
Yeah,
Even
I
TJ.
agree.
These
Yeah.
days.
This was
like,
just-
it's like current times.
But the way she was talking about it was like a motivational.
She's like, I don't like it.
But
it-
so like, but
Yeah,
she used it as like motivation,
Mm-hmm.
whereas now it's like, like very over the
You
top.
made a
like,
weird face with that.
did I?
Well, I
You
mean,
did.
It was pretty accurate
like
for who you're describing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I mean, I didn't take her saying this as a complaint. It was more like, I really don't like water. I don't like heights, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, if this was like 2019, it would be she'd be cussing everyone out and talking about how
So stupid.
annoyed she is. Yeah, and like this,
God, I just made someone really mad.
Yeah.
I don't care.
She's Cara's.
It's what it is.
I wish we
is,
could have this Cara back.
She is.
This is who
so
I want to see on my television.
Likeable this season.
I root for her so hard this season.
It's
So hard.
it's-
I want only good things for her.
It's made me, because again we've been doing this show and watching like the last two seasons like pretty like we're scrutinizing it very much because we have to. We take notes, whatever. I had almost forgot how like likable she was in like this era.
It makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
Because like when we first watched through this, I didn't feel anything because it was
Before she like
whatever season that Kyle came on.
Well, no, I think we started watching this as we were doing Final Reckoning.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So we were doing the podcast.
So before Final Reckoning was the first time we started Free Agents, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is it. This is her climb up the mountain. I'm really excited to see it. Now, after
man.
seeing the most recent seasons, going back and watching Free Agents again,
It's not the same person.
It makes me feel weird because I'm like, this is not how I feel about it now.
Who had that song called "The Climb"? Was that
Miley Cyrus.
Oh man, what was that? Can we like queue up?
No.
We don't have the royalties.
No, we don't.
We
have the
can
rights.
sing
We have
it.
the right- Boy, we should. That'd be nice. Wouldn't
If we
it?
had the royalties, it'd be awesome.
That's her
I'm
song.
gonna
That
just
is
mute that out of here.
that is Cara's song during this phase, "The Climb."
The whole season.
Just anytime. That's what should happen. Is that anytime, or should have happened, is anytime she's doing like her confessionals or whatever, just cue up Miley Cyrus.
Play
They
it in the
didn't want
background.
to. They didn't want to pay for Miley Cyrus for the
Because
challenge.
they're too busy paying for a day to remember.
And
Not at this point.
Close your
but
eyes again. This episode.
Are you seeing them? Like, I'm not seeing them put the songs at the bottom. Are
so
you?
So with Close Your Eyes specifically, like when they're doing, at one point, one of the teams is doing the ropes. And I was like, what band is this? I was like, because I know what this band is.
Yeah.
And they were doing so many other things that, like, the name for the song didn't pop up till like 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
And so they are still showing up. It's just you got to watch. They don't show up right when the song starts. But it was Close Your Eyes again, who famously, during her elimination like 2 episodes ago, was This Is My Line in the Sand, same band. But they had like a weird like British accent almost. It's real strange.
I used to get told I sung with a British accent.
You sing
Cousin
with,
Jake told me
you
that.
sing with country twang.
By the way,
Do I?
Yeah,
You haven't heard me sing in like 3 years.
I remember it.
Well,
we did talk to my cousin Jake about coming on the
little
show.
tease there.
Patreon.
We did. We talked about it yesterday.
Probably
Yeah.
on Patreon.
hopeful that'll be our next redemption house. Is
Yeah.
to bring cousin
Do you know
Jake
how
on.
funny that would be?
Oh, it'd be great. People are asking for him.
Yeah.
We told him that, and he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
right." We're like, "No,
They are.
We've had people ask for it."
People want to hear from cousin Jake.
Anyway, Devin's gone. Jess is next to go. Swift just slides down the ropes. You can't recover after
Yeah, when
at that
Swift
point.
fell, I made the note. This is what happens when you pick him over Preston.
I mean, Swift just isn't
But
super impressive.
but that is the thing. I want it to be known that 5 episodes in a row, Swift is picked directly over Preston, and Swift is the one that screws up and either DQs or loses it for his team, and Preston's the one that wins it for his team.
No, Preston DQ'd and loses it for his
I
team
know
this episode.
Preston DQ'd this episode, but every other episode he has been the driving factor for their victory.
So Swift's gone. Teresa is next. John A is next, and then Jordan, which Jordan was talking like he wanted. It was kind of a weird moment because he slid, and I think it was Zach. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I didn't mean to," or something along those lines. As he's like sideways.
And then Zach was like, "Oh, okay, we're fine then."
Yeah. And he like wrapped it around the back of his neck to like support himself.
It was a weird position. But I mean, like, here's my thing, like, this was a hard challenge for him to do.
It's a hard challenge for anyone.
It was hard for everybody, but it's really hard when you only have like one hand to grip with.
Which that'll come into play later in this episode.
So, I feel like Zach's another one on this season where I feel like compared to today,
It's different.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
I feel like
He actually
watching
wants
him-
to be here.
and he's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we get competitive Zach
This is
these days.
Pre-Jenna.
Hey, it is
Oh.
not her fault.
Is she the problem?
No.
I didn't say that, but
Hey,
She's the solution.
girls
he
have a
is
funny
happy
way.
in
all right?
life now.
All right, girls either. So for us, right, single guy, right. I can speak to this. I'm a single guy. Okay, they either add to you, or they take away. Right? They steal your spirit. They break you down. All right, and then there's those that encourage you. They empower you, right? And you kind of feed off of one another. Is Jenna? Did she steal his soul?
so
No, I would almost say the opposite because
He stole her soul.
no,
that's the opposite.
no.
It's the opposite.
I mean, it's almost like now that he's with Jenna, she is his whole world, and when he's separated from her, he can't talk to her. He has no communication to her.
Well, it's not that. He called security on her in the last season.
Because he was really upset, and he was afraid he was going to really hurt her because he was not in a good headspace. But when they are separated and apart, it's hard to be away from her, and he wants to go back home to her.
Except for the season when he cheated on her when she was gone. Here's the thing.
Here we
I'm
go.
not saying... I think she has made him in a better place in real life. I think she
He's
has
a
made
better
him
person. He doesn't
in a
scream
worse
at people anymore
in a worse place challenge-wise.
competitively. But he can't do this for the rest of his life. He can be married to her for the rest of his life.
I mean, we may have uncovered something. I don't know.
I think it's worth a deep dive,
Yeah.
as they say these days.
Listen, we're just going to have to keep going through these seasons to watch the evolution because I have not seen the season where they meet.
I just want a revolution.
So 4 out of 10 make it for the purple team. I didn't write down who they were because it doesn't matter.
It's Zach, Cara, Johnny Raleigh, and Leroy.
There we go.
Kara was one of the ones that made it across. That was a
right.
big
Yeah.
deal. She was so happy, and Zach was so proud of her.
So the yellow team goes. They think they're going to kill it.
So
they
I,
get about like halfway through and they have like a good start.
I actually thought the way they went about it was smart because you're using a lot of your upper body to swing, to climb,
So use
whatever.
lower body.
So when you're not moving, squat down and use your lower body, and your hands are literally just there to kind of like
balance, I guess.
balance.
Or keep you.
I thought that was smart.
Well, the purple team did that a little bit, but it's just you had Zach climbing over people and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But so they do that. Anissa goes first of all. Going back to your point.
Yeah. Okay.
Last week.
Let me. Okay. All right, where are my notes here? I'm trying to find a specific note on. First off, when she fell,
Her and Nani fell almost at the exact same time.
when she fell, I typed, of course.
By the way, our stat man Paul.
Can we read that?
You can pull it up if you want. Like
God, man,
I don't know if we should read the whole
It's-
thing
it's-
because it was
it's all stats. Now
it is stats.
You can say this is his opinion.
you don't have to read his whole opinion. He did not.
But I feel like
He didn't verbally or contractually agree to that.
It's fine. He lets us do whatever.
he's a lawyer. It's fine. What did he
Okay.
post that in? Off season?
Yeah,
he's in our Slack group.
It's in our
so
Slack group from Patreon.
if you want to start getting slacked, which thread?
He probably made his own. It's from like a week ago,
Did
man.
not make his own.
Should have pulled it up a while
man.
ago.
God, why don't we have his phone number? we could just
It's
should
like
ask
it's
him
like
that.
10:30 in Detroit.
we could just call him. All right, let me see.
Well, in case anybody.
I found it in 2 seconds. It's right here.
Okay, I found it too. Here I go.
Okay.
All right. So I said last episode that Anissa is arguably one of the most overrated female competitors on this show. And I will say now, I don't know if I went into it this much, that I think she may be one of the worst. So our guy, Stat Checker Paul, who we refer to a lot on this podcast, we can't. Oh, jeez.
Stop moving.
Something happened to my ears.
I can't hear anything.
It's fine. So, is it fine?
No.
Are you sure?
It's not okay.
I feel like you being
We
our
have
tech
to
guy
stop
need
the
to
whole
check it.
podcast and start over.
This is live.
It's fine.
This is
Good God.
We have a live audience. They're live tweeting right now.
You guys
All
are
right.
useless.
So here we go. Stat Checker Paul here. Hot take. Anissa is the worst female challenger in the history of the challenge, competitively. All right, so
Yeah, he's not saying anything about her personality.
No, we're
or
not.
anything.
There's
Character.
nothing attacking Anissa as a person, or who she is, whatever. This is not about that. He says,
He's just basing it on stats because that's what he
yeah,
does.
yeah, and so are we. Okay. He says, look, to have some crap seasons, and he mentions Casey and Siobhan. I mean, in sports, how is he wording this?
Okay, look, to have some crap seasons, saying like Casey and Siobhan obviously are horrible competitors.
Right.
They are not good.
He said, I mean, in sports, teams have some horrible seasons and then they move on. But Anissa is the Detroit Lions.
Which he's from Detroit.
Yeah, so it's self-deprecating. She shows up every year and loses every single year. And then you can go on from there.
And then he says, Anissa not winning a challenge has been the most consistent bet you can make. So at what point does the sheer volume of losing outweigh some competitors' 2 to 3 seasons? Anissa's volume of losing and literally never even being a threat to win on any season, even the team seasons, is insurmountable. I know I'll get... We're clean here. We do it for the kids. I know I'll get crap for that, and I get it. The shooting stars' bad seasons of Casey, Siobhan, Emily, Brooke, etc. are memorable. But Anissa always shows up and always loses. So to me, the volume just puts her as the worst ever competitively because of the insane amount of losing she has done, to which I said, wow, Paul, I got to say I appreciate the breakdown and couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so the thing with that is she's just had way more of a chance than... To be fair, Casey, Siobhan, them, I think if they get the amount of like seasons Anissa has, they'll have a way worse record.
But the difference between them is I feel like they realize it. Like
Casey knows.
Casey knows.
She jokes about it.
Yeah.
Anissa talks
Yeah.
like she is
Laurel.
to be reckoned with, and she's not.
I mean, there's physical elimination. She's good, but even now her elimination record is she's won 8 and lost 9. But she has
It's a
1-8.
losing record.
But she has 1-8. I mean, she has.
It's a losing record.
She's done a lot of seasons, man.
It's a losing record.
So
What is that? 49 to 51%.
That's it.
by the way, Chico
Chico
commented on something that I
quoted
put up on Instagram.
On his
Yeah.
Instagram post, commented on it. I'd say that's about a 49 to 51%.
Oh, what did he say?
And I was
What did
like,
he say?
To
that is
me
so not
personally.
funny.
Oh man!
Yeah,
Shout out to Chico, man.
So yeah, Anissa's gone. Nani's gone. Then Bananas falls. He looks like he's going to recover, and then he falls.
He did once. Like
Yeah,
he did a cool
that's
little
the thing.
trick there.
It looks like he's going to make it all the way through, and then he falls again. Camilla's out. CT's arms just fail on him. And then Jasmine is working her way through, and then she just falls.
I want it to be known, all of these people that fell, they slipped first and then tried to pull themselves back up and could not do it.
It's because your arms are gone.
yeah.
Preston was the only person.
Well, I'll argue this.
He was the only person that slipped and was able to pull himself back up.
It's not the same because Preston was going on the. I will say Preston did good. He took his gloves off. He made it. He pulled himself back up.
But he still had his legs there too.
He did still have his legs, and it was at the beginning of the movement across, not after people had stepped all over you and then walked. You're walking across. Like, it's not the same.
You can't take it away from him.
I'm not taking that away, but it is not the same thing.
And these
he-
people, their legs were gone.
He,
They were.
he slipped quite a bit and was able to pull himself back up and then up high enough that he was able to reach his legs up to the little disc to pull himself back up and get his balance back. Nobody else was able to do that.
Again, it's different circumstances. It's not
Give
the
him
same.
the credit. He was the only one that was able, out of everybody today, he was the only person able to pull himself back up.
I'm with Zach. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm giving him all the
it's-
credit.
It was like probably 10 or 15 minutes before too, like when people started falling. Like
He still did it.
He did it on the first initial walkthrough as he's being the last person.
But again, these other guys were trying to pull themselves up with their legs, like they just have their
They're at the
hands
bottom
on
of
there.
the
Whereas
rope,
Preston's still got his legs wrapped around the rope, so he's got leverage. These
no,
other guys,
I wrote Preston like.
Hey,
he
listen.
took his gloves off. He did good, but it's not the same situation.
he continues to perform. He
That
does.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
And if he wouldn't have like freaked out at the end and just had one hand in each rope, they would have tied, and who knows what they would have done. I guess it would have came down to time, which we don't know. We have no idea what the times were. But basically, who are the ones that made it across for this team?
The ones
Preston.
that made it
No,
across.
he
he
did not. He did
disqualified,
not.
but he still made it to the
Which
platform.
means it doesn't count.
Kahutta, of course, because he makes a living working.
He
with
was the
ropes,
first
right?
one across.
Laurel
Yeah.
and Isaac was the other one. About
Yeah.
the only good moment for Isaac. So
Hey, did you guys notice Kahutta made it across and then Laurel was next and he like reached over to pull her on and Bananas was on the shoreline yelling at Kahutta, telling him what to do, and Kahutta looked down at him and he said,
You just
draw off.
Yeah, he said I got.
And Bananas did not
hold on.
like
He
that.
said I got a wet banana yelling at me from the shore.
Put that twang on it, Han.
Just get her to call her mom. It'll come out naturally.
Okay.
Okay, you suck. You suck.
Are you gonna say it?
So, you start yelling at me like Bananas was yelling at Kahutta.
Come on, Kahutta! Yeah! He's because he gets real.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, you just draw off.
You just drove.
You just
down
draw off.
Those are horrible impressions.
You just
there. I got it.
Yours is just natural.
you gotta hold your tongue up while you're talking and use your bottom lip to gently graze the bottom of your top teeth and say it from the back of your neck.
Do you what was that?
You
He
just
doesn't have
draw.
dip in his mouth while he's doing it.
What was that? What was that one character's name in Fox and the Hound?
The grandma.
Fox?
No, the old dog.
Oh,
Hound.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
Why don't you just drive?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking
Go ahead
about.
and drive.
That's a good one.
Me?
You should
Yeah.
talk like that for the rest of the podcast.
What's the
See if you can do it.
All right.
Preston disqualified until they lose. I'm waiting on your next.
I gotta stop smiling.
Okay. So basically, the purple team has to go into deliberation, or they're kind of at the house talking about who they want to vote in, all that stuff. Kara has not been in this situation, and so, by the way, foreshadowing to Johnny Riley, he said, "Let's pick Kara and like change her situation so she doesn't have to go into the draw again." It does work.
Yeah, it worked.
There we go. She suggests bananas right away.
Well, yeah, because apparently, they have already started their mutual distaste for each other.
It's weird because this is a season where, because sometimes they're friends because they're the face of the show and they kind of like, oh, we're both hated, we get it.
Yeah.
Kara's suggesting bananas, but then she turns around and says Laurel is my best friend in like the same room, which that's a weird relationship back and forth.
Yeah.
Over the years.
We got some good quotes from Kara in this conversation because
I literally didn't write anything other than Laurel's my best friend.
Because Johnny Riley is not sure which guy they want to vote to put in. And Kara pipes up and she says, if you get a chance to put Johnny Bananas in, you do it. Johnny Riley looks at her. He's like, are you serious? Like, really? And she said, why should he get a free pass?
True. But knowing what we know now, if someone said that about her, oh, if you got a chance, you put Kara in, she would lose it now.
Well, regardless, I thought that this was a good foreshadowing post to the War of the Worlds season where Wes is like, if you get a chance to put Johnny Bananas in, you do it.
That's because...
And that got him sitting home second.
But Wes is... I mean, he's always thought about stuff like that. I mean, it's just... It makes sense. You got a chance to put someone in where it's a 50-50 shot, they go home, you do it.
I thought it was good, but it was also insightful for Kara to speak up and say this because Johnny Riley and the other people in the room, they're not thinking about that. They're like, oh, should we throw in Preston or whoever, or Swift or whatever? But I mean, she's trying to explain to them like, this is your chance to put him into elimination, to get him out of the game, to up your chances of winning.
Real quick shout out. Dog's name is Chief.
That's very appropriate.
Fox in the house.
Oh.
So, Pat Buttram is the voice actor's name.
Appropriate name.
Probably
Shout out
dead.
to you,
He's probably
Pat.
dead.
No, but yeah, smart.
Look it up.
What?
Oh, that guy's
If
dead.
he's dead.
That movie came out so long ago.
I just need to know.
Well, if they need a replacement.
So basically, this is where Teresa kind of spearheads the gotta vote Laurel in. Same reason. You got a strong person, you got a chance to send them in. It makes sense. But she was the one like behind, like we're putting in Laurel, and so got people to agree with her.
Yeah, because I think some of the other girls were like, no, I don't want to vote in Laurel. Let's vote in somebody else. And Teresa's like, no, you have to vote in Laurel.
So, yeah, then it comes down to the actual vote. We get into the room, and TJ's going through. It's a very mixed bag of votes. Like, it's a very close. It's not one-sided in any direction for the guys or the girls.
Kind of all over the place.
Jordan is the final vote. Well, before that, they vote Laurel in, and then at the last second, it's pretty much decided that Laurel's going to go in. She's one vote ahead, and Teresa is next to last. Mm-hmm. And she switches to Jasmine out of nowhere. After all these other people voted for Laurel because she kind of convinced them.
I think Jessica was one of the first girls to vote, and she voted for Anissa again, which Anissa didn't like that because...
She's already burned that bridge.
Yeah, so I guess just keep burning it.
You can see those wheels were turning in Anissa's head, though.
She's almost wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Nani got feisty this one. She didn't want to be voted in.
Leroy, his quote was, I vote Laurel, and if you get a chance to vote me, please don't.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. It was some comedic humor. I don't know if she found that funny or not.
She was not in funny mode because Zach was like, I vote for Laurel. She's like, look me nice. And he's like, I was. And Laurel gets voted in. It's weird that Teresa changed the vote to Jasmine, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But for the guys, it's a tie vote, essentially, and it comes down to Jordan.
Of course.
And you know Jordan's going to... They've been setting up the Bananas Jordan thing the whole time. He's going to vote him in.
I had not realized until Johnny Bananas was telling Jordan he hadn't done anything all season, and then it kind of showed the flashback to all the stuff that he had messed up. I guess... just because so much other stuff had been going on, I hadn't realized how poorly, or, I mean, even just lack of performing at all, Jordan had done this season.
Jordan's a very cocky player, and he did go to the final his first season, but this season has not been good.
He hasn't done anything.
He's been very loud, but not
season.
Good.
He's disqualified every daily, just about.
So they basically, Laurel and Bananas, TJ's like, hey, you guys are going in. So immediately after this, Devin kind of gets into it with Teresa, and she's like, why would you have all of us vote for it and then just like not do it? Like, that's so cowardly. Like, what are you doing? And so it makes all them look bad.
And then she runs to Laurel.
Well, that's the dumb thing. Like, Teresa's like, hey, it's an individual game. I get that. The dumb part of it is, does she just think that no one is going to tell Laurel? She's like, oh no, she won't know that I'm the one who started. Like, they're going to tell
That's so
Laurel.
stupid. Like Devin, I think she got so fed up with Teresa at this point that she's like, you know what? If you're going to play cowardly like this and try to put the blame for your choices on us, I'm just going to go and expose you. And so she runs to Laurel and she's like, you just need to know that there was a ringleader. And
They didn't even say names.
And she's like, I think you know who I'm talking about. And Laura goes, I do. And it was so, Laurel was like, oh, yeah, okay. And she's like, totally not mad at Devin. She's like, I'm just gunning for Teresa now.
Hashtag lying was during this. But so this was my big note on this is I don't know what Teresa's long-term game plan is because, again, she has no allegiance to any of these people. They have no allegiance to her. They're going to immediately tell Laurel. Laurel's going to be mad at her. It's not like Laurel's going to be like, you know what? She didn't vote for me. She voted for Jasmine. Like, Laurel's going to know she started all of it. And she's going to have a target on her back either way. So she should have just stuck with picking Laurel. Like, I guess she got in the moment and was just like, oh, if I don't say her name, she can't be mad at me. But, like, that's not how it works.
But, like, what's so stupid is even if she had said Laurel's name, so did half the other people on the team.
Yes,
so
4 people.
I mean that doesn't mean she's automatically just going to gun for you. She may gun for everybody else first.
Now she specifically has a reason to go after her.
I was unaware of disintegrous as a word.
It's a good word.
I didn't know. I had never heard that word before, and I was like, I wonder if that's. It sounded right.
Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. I think it's a word.
Pulling that phone out. You operating in the spirit of stat checker over here. Statman Paul. Look at you.
Statman Zach.
You could never fill those shoes.
No, never.
Never. No one could.
Ever. You're not a lawyer.
Disingenuous is a word.
That is a word. But is disintegrous a word?
Yeah. Disintegrate.
Read the integrate?
I mean, yeah. Oh, good Lord. I was typing in and, autofills for you.
Oh, did you get another, what was it?
Wiener?
Yeah.
No. Well, disintegrate is just disintegrate, but you're pronouncing it weird. But
I am.
No, like just because I'm thinking of the way she said that word. It may not be a word, honestly.
Notch against Devin there. Your girl, Devin.
Disintegrity is a word. So,
okay.
Maybe she's just using it like the.
Someone's gonna know the answer to this, and they're gonna be really mad that
we've made plenty of people
spirit
mad
and the act of being of having disintegrity.
Use disintegrity in a sentence.
You're full of disintegrity.
See, that's just goofy sound. It doesn't make any sense.
It's again, I don't understand Teresa. It looked like she was about to cry after
it was such a dumb
Devin.
move. If anything, she just made everything worse for herself
by
thinking she was playing smart.
Instead
and
of just
sneaky.
having Laurel mad at her, now she's got
The
every
whole
girl mad at
house.
her. Yeah, it's really stupid.
So stupid.
And her reasoning behind it was, well, it wouldn't have mattered what I voted for because the boys were going to vote for her anyway. Only 2 guys voted for her.
Right.
It was only Zach and Leroy.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it was guaranteed if the girls didn't vote for her. Anyway.
No, it was a close vote.
Yeah. Anyway, we go into the draw at the elimination. The elimination is balls in. Classic
Laurel
elimination.
got so excited when she saw this.
Yeah. It's a classic elimination.
It's a good one.
They go into the draw.
I'm totally for it, by the way. And I think I said this a couple episodes ago. Some of these, like this elimination, being in rotation every year.
I'm fine with it. I would have much rather.
You just can't go wrong with it, man.
It's such a good one.
It's a good one-on-one. Now they've never done like a 2-player version of this. I don't believe 2-player teams.
Ooh, that'd be before you pass it off, and that would be fun. Look at you with the ideas.
Ooh.
God dog, Zach.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done anything like that. But yeah, it's a solid one. This Hall Brawl, like those are just classics. Like
Yeah.
you can just do them every year if you need
It's
to.
like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the draw comes down to Jasmine. She pulls it, immediately starts crying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was wiping her face of tears and standing next to Laurel, and Laurel just like
She's
reaches
rubbing
her
back.
hand over
Yeah.
on it, puts it on her back. Like, we both know how this is going to end.
Everyone knew how this was going to end.
Yeah, I'm about to shove you down with one hand.
It's like everybody that was up on the balcony when they saw Jasmine pull the card, they were like,
So
no.
yeah, 'cause between Jasmine and Anissa, right?
it's so unfair.
Which, you know what's funny? I paid attention to Anissa a lot this episode, especially after last week. When Jasmine drew that, Anissa immediately threw her head back in relief. And she was just talking trash this last episode about Laurel and
About
taking her out.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to go against her.
She can't. She can't
Nobody
do it.
does. What do you think would happen if Anissa pulled the card?
Laurel would have beat her as bad as she did Jasmine.
It would no. I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay.
I feel like there would have been a little bit
Alright.
more of a fight.
It would have been more fight. Like Anissa's got more weight to throw around to get in her way and like to push past her.
What was it? 3-1? Is that what it ended
Well,
up being?
here, let's be honest. That was a pity score.
I
That she
get
let
it.
her have.
Because she gave her a high five after.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
So well, let's before we get into the elimination, Isaac
here-
pulls it for the guys.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
Is I think Laurel would have been fired
Yes.
up to
She
go
would-
against Anissa.
She didn't care about this one. She knew she was going to win.
I feel like Laurel broke a bigger sweat putting on the football pads than she did actually in the elimination.
Interesting choice to not go with full face helmets on this one, especially after what happened with Chet.
As moneymaker.
Yeah.
Because like you're just hitting head on.
Yeah.
But they basically go into it on paper. Look, Laurel and Jasmine, probably the most one-sided elimination I've ever seen.
Yeah.
On paper, if you just do pound for pound, height to height, muscle to muscle, it looks like Isaac and Johnny should be a pretty good match. Like they standing beside each other, they're squared up almost exactly the same.
Like build, height.
But you can tell one of them is super competitive and wants to be there and is good at this stuff, and one of them it just isn't.
Doesn't really care that much.
So we get into the girls' elimination. I mean, Laurel just basically turns her shoulder like to the left and just kind of like moves her out of the way.
Laurel never ran.
No,
She kind of like
she didn't throw her ever.
She walked a little bit. She would kind of like put her arms out to kind of like gently push Jasmine out of the way.
And knocked her down one time with
She-
no momentum.
Yeah.
In one of the instances when Laurel scored, she like delicately placed it into the hole, like it was
She,
like a baby, like she was laying in a
reached
manger.
down and just dropped it in
Yeah.
there.
Like
She let it roll off of her fingers.
she 100% let Jasmine score that point. She was not trying.
Yeah. I think she and Jasmine both knew that Jasmine was going home.
Yes.
So at least to let her score that point so it didn't look so pitiful would, make her feel less
And
bad
then
about it.
She did high five her afterwards. Like,
Yeah,
"You did
she
it."
immediately
Yeah.
high-fived like as soon as they turned around.
If Laurel
to
would have,
reset.
if Laurel would have even been at like 50%, like Jasmine wouldn't have scored. Laurel would have won.
I feel like Laurel was
Right.
performing at like 30%.
It was not hard at all.
No.
So, Jasmine going out mentions that she'll be back to do this again, but this was actually...
I was about to say, I think this is her
This
last
was it.
season.
I thought this was
It's
her last season.
Yeah.
So
I didn't look that up, but I when she said that, I was like, I'm pretty sure she doesn't come back after this.
we were talking about earlier girls that steal your soul.
Yeah.
That's what happened here.
Yeah.
Laurel stole her soul.
Well, while they were, I don't even want to say battling it out, while they were in this elimination, it cuts to Kara and CT, and Kara goes, "This is sad." And
Everyone.
and then a minute later, CT goes, "That is sad."
Yeah, it's like watching like a 4-year-old like try to play like basketball versus his dad, and like, oh, you might let him score, but like really like
To boost his confidence, yeah.
on like an 8-foot goal, like the dad would destroy it every time.
I will say what I liked is after the elimination, TJ lines him up and he talks to him. The first thing he did was compliment Laurel's sportsmanship.
I didn't
Because
even catch that.
Laurel was not just she let Jasmine get the 1 point, but she was not excessively rough with her either because
No.
everybody knew she was going to win. So there was no point in like throwing her around, beating her up, getting rough with her. She was performing at Jasmine's level to make it a little bit
She
less.
treated her like she was a baby lamb.
Yeah, it was less, physically awful for Jasmine. And I liked that TJ, was like, Laurel, that was good sportsmanship.
You know,
that you showed.
we don't typically do this, but I'm going to throw this out to anyone listening right now. We probably need to start doing this more often. If you can think of a more one-sided elimination, tweet it to us, send it to us on Instagram when this goes up.
Slack it to us.
Well, yeah, if you're on our Patreon group, go ahead and do that.
Like getting slacked.
Sometimes we watch so many of these, you forget some stuff that just... I'd forgotten about this elimination until we just watched it, even though, we watched this like a year ago.
Yeah.
But
we only got through half
we
of
saw
the
this
season.
elimination.
Yes.
And I'd forgotten how bad it was. So we may be wrong. There may be some other eliminations that are just as bad or even worse. Tweet them to us. Let us know, because in my mind right now, this is the most one-sided I think I can remember. And I think we all are kind of on the same page with that. So that after that's done, we get into the guys' elimination.
Did you notice Isaac, before going into elimination, he said, it's time to go night-night. I'm putting bananas in pajamas.
Yeah, which is a like kids book or like video series or something from when I was a little kid. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
It's I had forgotten about that. It's one of those like repressed things you don't think about.
It's like a children's book.
Yeah. But by the way, Isaac only did 2 seasons. I like his interviews, and I like how weird he is.
He's funny.
Did you watch
He's
the end of the episode where he like gets in the
weird,
pool in like full
different,
dress clothes?
quirky.
Yeah.
That's what I like. And the fact that he knew all about the Uruguayan lemons,
Well, and
like the first night.
and like he's like, I'm like a drunk hobo in sand, and then he's like, I'm not going to the beach anymore. I'm not going to kids' playgrounds anymore. I was like, well, that's for legal reasons, but
Yeah, what about that?
I think
huh?
he's just being,
it was a joke,
yeah.
but
I like those
it was a
interviews
little
though.
weird.
It's
By the way, shout out to Challenge Mania. They interviewed him like 2 days ago.
yeah.
I haven't listened to it, but I'm really interested in it.
I like Isaac as a character, as a personality.
Not a great competitor.
As a competitor, no. He's so disappointing.
I feel like he'd be one of the most interesting guys, like to just talk
Just
with
to
in
be
the
friends
house.
with.
Yeah.
He would be a really good person to be friends with. Just having contact.
Ba-
So like if you're ever bored, be like, hey man, why don't you tell me a story?
Based on what Derek said about their interview for Challenge Mania, he was hilarious. I haven't listened to it.
I mean, he's kind of funny. I believe it.
He's one that I like. We talk so much about the challenge and we do interviews and all that. I don't listen to all of their stuff, and honestly, I haven't listened to one in a long time. But
I would listen to
people
that.
like that are just really obscure, I like to go listen to because I just want to know what they're
never
like.
know what's going to come out of their mouths.
Yeah.
So like this, I had such high hopes because this was an elimination. I hoped that it would make Isaac want to perform a little more.
He's a drunk hobo. We can't do it.
But good Lord, it was so...
Well, and Kryptonite is his sand, or rather...
We got it. You don't have
You
to
know,
explain.
Superman
I
hates
got it,
sand.
Yeah, so they start off, I think Isaac has the ball first, and like Johnny immediately just like nails him out of bounds.
Well, he tried to like... TJ counted him down.
He looked like he stuttered.
He didn't move.
Yeah, like he was trying to like psych him out.
And then just ran straight into Johnny.
Yeah.
And then...
And then the next, then
Yeah.
Johnny goes, and he just like gives him a little quick fake to the right, and then goes back right in.
No effort put in whatsoever.
Johnny been working
For
the
either
football
side.
drills, man.
Yeah.
After like the first 3 points, it cuts to the balcony. I think CT is the one that said, "This is sad."
By the way, the 1 point Isaac did score was pretty impressive. Like they were fighting for a long time, and like he like picked it up and kind of realized that's the way he's got to do this. He's not going to beat him with quickness or anything. He's just got to kind of try to outmuscle him. However, every time Johnny was on offense, he just got right by him. Like it was just right by. Isaac just had no reaction time.
Listen, I think he has my vote for the most disappointing male competitor on the challenge after Derek Henry. After Derek, I think Isaac may be number 2 for most disappointing male.
I'm not going to do that.
Look at every way that he has performed this whole season.
I get it, but like
He's not even trying.
I think there's still other ones that can beat
At
him
least
out.
Dunbar tried.
Oh, there it is.
The Dunbar defender's
there.
back.
Well,
There's
I
everything
know that
there.
you guys have Dunbar on your list as disappointing, but he at least put in some effort. Isaac, it's like he's not even there.
I mean, he only did 2 seasons, so like going back to Paul's point earlier, he doesn't have like the 15 seasons of work to choose from.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see him more in like a big team type strategy, or like one of those where like it's a team final. But
I don't think he could even make it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Isaac is good by any means compared to a lot of the other people.
He's so disappointing. I mean, you look at him and he looks like he should be really good. It's disappointing.
Derek H is still the worst.
Absolutely the worst. He is number 1 of all time.
Because
no one, I don't think anybody will ever top that.
he was a legitimate like Division I athlete, like a basketball player, and he averaged like a pretty good amount of points per game and stuff.
Had to look.
Yeah, like
Build.
He was ripped, and you're like, oh, he looks super athletic. The only one that might be worse was that Theo guy who quit that one elimination against Corey, who was like a wide receiver in college that got kicked out for like fighting or something like that.
I don't even remember that.
Super athlete, just.
But in his defense, they're not doing football drills 200 feet in the air, however high they were.
I get it. He's quit in his first elimination though. There's still. Oh, I guess does Brandon even count? The guy that got like sent home because he missed his girlfriend.
I think we should carry on the spirit.
No, because he did not look like he was going to compete really well.
Yeah, we should just carry on the spirit of TJ and just
forget his name.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard now.
I never remember his name.
So again, Bananas wins, and he outright like completely outplays him.
And then Jordan's like, well, I shouldn't have sent Isaac to do my dirty work. I'll just have to take him out myself.
And this is where Bananas says the comment that I think. So again, this is 2014. Social media is obviously around. I've had Twitter for like 10 years now, so it's been around
Twitter
for a long
was
time.
around,
but
for sure.
It is not anywhere to the level it is now.
No.
If Johnny would have said something like that now, it would have been a huge deal. And to Johnny's credit, I'm not saying like I'm not taking up for what he said. In the next scene we see, he did say, "I was in the heat of the moment. I said that. I shouldn't have said that, but I did want to take your head off." Now. He shouldn't have said it.
Well, the thing was, like, when they cut back to the house, Jordan's like, apparently everybody in the house is more upset about it than I am.
You gotta think, though, he's lived with that his whole life.
So he's probably heard it so much that it doesn't even affect him anymore.
And he knows that
that probably wasn't anything to him.
Yeah, if you let that type of stuff get to you, like, he's got such a, like, hard exterior. Like, he wants to prove that he's, like, this really awesome competitor.
Do you think that's why he's so obnoxious and cocky?
I do.
Because, I mean, he has to be.
I think, I don't know. It's weird because, again, I think he was born that way. But it's got to shape your personality somehow. And I think the way that he dealt with things growing up, it seems, I don't know the guy, was that he was overly confident and cocky and could beat people. And he's a good athlete. Like, he's a good competitor. This season's not been good so far, but like every other season he's been in the final or won. And like, the rumor is he's back for the next season. There's no official announcement yet from MTV, so we don't talk about that. But I'm excited for him to be back because he left on a high note. He won all of Dirty 30, $1 million.
That's a big deal.
And so I
do think his win of that got a little overshadowed by Camilla's win.
And her not being at the reunion where they announced
One, she wasn't
won.
there. Two, she won also, and everybody was really upset about it.
Yeah.
I think that overshadowed his win.
He also was wrecked in the skydiving thing that season.
Yeah, he
in
got
the finale.
He got really hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he is a good competitor.
He's top notch, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking current people,
he's a guy that's
He's
not going
really
to quit.
good.
Now he's very cocky, and that gets him in trouble. We'll see later in the season. But
It's annoying, but I mean, I feel like in a way he kind of has to be really cocky. Otherwise, things will get to him.
And here's the thing: good for him of being able to hear something like that, something out of his control. Obviously, he can't control, what happened to him. but he didn't like go after Johnny. He kind of played the bigger role in it. And it's like, more people are mad about it than I am.
Yeah.
And then Johnny apologized.
Not
and
really. He didn't say he was sorry. He just said
he said I shouldn't have said that, but he wasn't sorry.
No, he was like, I shouldn't have said that, but I still wanted to take your head
And then
off.
that's when they start going back and forth. And the last famous words of the episode are, "I'll be the one to send you home," which is Jordan talking to Johnny. Yeah. And I think that the next episode is going to be when they go at it even more. I don't know that for sure because we haven't watched ahead, but again, this is still a good season.
Great season.
I like this season a lot.
Hey, post credits, Kara goes streaking, and Preston's face is my new favorite reaction to everything.
She goes streaking and she like puts like some weave or a wig or something like over her like flesh colored thong or whatever she's wearing.
Yeah.
So it's like she has a bunch of like weird pubic hair in the front. MTV just blurred all that out.
They didn't blur out the front. They blurred out her butt crack.
Well, anyway, she was running through the house and Leroy was very excited about it.
I don't know that he was excited. He was like, she's naked. Like,
he was excited.
I don't know that he was
She's
excited.
a beautiful girl, man.
His response was more like, I can't believe it.
Oh, no. He was there for it.
She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Preston was not there for it.
Preston did have like a disgusted face.
He looked like he was going to throw up.
I don't know if he looked down at like where the hair was and that freaked him out, but all we saw was his reaction and it was like, ugh. And then we have the other post-credit thing, which is
Isaac, full dress clothes, just walking into the pool.
Belt on, everything.
Necklace. He forgot to take his watch off, got it wet, and then was like, oh crap, I'm not supposed to get this wet. Took it off and then threw it.
And someone in the pool said, like, they're like, you didn't pack that outfit. They're like, is that Swift's clothes? Which we didn't get an answer of, but that would be even funnier if you put on all of Swift's clothes and then got in the pool.
Like that would be freaking hilarious. I hope that's what happened.
Yeah.
You guys find Isaac a lot more funny than I do.
I like him because he's so weird.
Yeah.
If he took Swift's clothes out of Swift's suitcase, put them on, and then walked into the pool and sat down in Swift's clothes in the pool, that is hilarious.
Just for I
love that.
Real quick, just for an entertainment sake, who would you rather have on another season? A weirdo like Isaac or like Swift?
Oh, come on.
What's your answer?
I'm not here for either one of them.
But that's not what I said.
But you have to pick one.
It's
because what has Swift done to prove that he's a better athlete than Isaac? At least Isaac is the weird guy telling everybody about lemons and.
It's like asking me to choose between melon and cantaloupe.
That's the same thing. A cantaloupe is a melon.
Yeah, cantaloupe is a melon.
Or a cantaloupe and a raisin.
Cantaloupe's better. A raisin is
I don't know,
dried
man.
up
Give me a raisin.
and mushy.
Who's the raisin out of them two?
Swift.
Swift out of those two would be the raisin.
Give me Swift.
That's a dumb answer.
That's so gross.
I'm just being real.
No.
What do you want me to do?
But like, here's the thing: if neither of them can compete at all, neither of them can compete. You want one that's bland, that has no commentary or anything, or you want one that's funny and tells good stories.
I don't think he's funny though. I haven't once been like, oh man, that was Isaac. That was funny.
Oh,
man.
that was Isaac. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm not even moving.
I don't know.
Oh man, dang.
You're having some problems with your mic.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into our superlatives for the night. Who smashed some heads?
Naked Kara.
Naked Kara smashed some heads.
Yeah.
Do you care to elaborate?
Well, she smashed Leroy's head because he couldn't believe it.
I think you misread that situation. I think he was good with it.
Smashed Preston's head for sure because he was about to be sick.
She had a merkin, which is a pubic hair wig. That's got its own name.
Oh man, that's pretty wild that those exist.
Yeah. I don't know what they're for, but Corridor Digital, like that YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Their weird landlord shows up every so often. They made a 3D print, and he's like, hey, this is like a merkin. He's like, do you know what that is? And they're like, no.
Man.
It's a pubic wig.
You think somebody's making a killing off those?
I don't know what the market is.
I don't know if they're making a killing.
I mean, maybe it's for people with alopecia who can't grow hair. I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to, I really just don't understand it.
You just wrap it around your wiener or something?
Yeah, you just put a rubber band on
is
it.
that what it
and just
is?
hold
It's like
there.
elastic or something?
I don't
Cut off
know.
the circulation.
What do you do when it's a vagina? You can't wrap it around anything. Or is it just
you
like a
hot
kinda-
glue it to a tampon and then
That's
Good
not,
Lord.
man.
So
who smashed some heads,
yeah.
Jake?
I didn't feel like there was, for me at least, a cute little direction to go with it. So Laurel.
Yeah. So yeah, that one was rough. I'm gonna go with. Man,
One of you guys should have gone with Isaac, as funny as you think he is.
he didn't smash.
He
any
didn't
heads.
smash
got
any
sent home.
heads.
I think, you know what? Isaac smashed y'all's head. How about that?
That's so stupid.
Yeah. He smashed your guys' heads. Y'all's heads. Everybody's heads. Because he's so funny.
It's funnier than Swift.
So apparently you like put some sort of adhesive on, and then you
you
apply
looked it up.
Oh, like a Roku. Like, because you got to put that little purple strip up across your TV.
Okay. Anyway.
Who smashed some heads?
Yeah, this is a tough one because like Laurel's the obvious answer for like killing people. You know what? I'll give it to.
Did you say Key and Peele?
I'll give it to
Key and Peele.
to Johnny because he did completely outwork Isaac. Like he just did. And again, he won. He hadn't proved himself yet this season, so there you go. Who got their head smashed?
Preston when he saw naked Kara.
Isaac, because he's not funny.
Good one. I'm gonna go with Teresa because
Yeah, that's a good one.
I
forgot about
She
that.
had no game plan going.
She smashed
going-
her own head
Yeah.
by screwing up.
Yeah, like she just was like, oh, I can just pretend I didn't never say anything and it'll be fine, and then that's not how it works.
In fact, it backfired and got more people upset with her.
Yeah, so that was mine for sure.
That's called being stupid.
Yeah. So, like we said at the top of the show, our Patreon, we have two completely separate podcasts. And actually, we kind of have a third show that we do every so often where we interview some of our patrons, and that's video as well as audio.
Yeah.
And we haven't done one of those in a while. We need to do one again.
We do.
I was thinking about that today. And so, again, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, or smashingheadspodcast.com has links to it right there. It directly supports the show. We have monthly fees. We all pay for different stuff. And so it helps 100% goes directly into the show.
We had Mikey come in for his. So it wasn't that long ago. You're thinking it was a long time ago because we haven't actually done one over Skype, but Mikey was the last one
Yeah,
to
but
come.
that's not the same because it wasn't like a one-on-one interview, and it also wasn't just the video version of it. Like we didn't do any of that.
Because typically with those, we actually, get your guys' take on everything. We ask you, like, how you got into the challenge, what's your background. Like, we get to know
asked him
you.
questions.
No, it wasn't the same. Like we just had him on because he was close enough that we could say like, "Hey, you've been with us for a long time. Let's get your take on all these things." He answered all the same questions we did, which that was still really fun.
We called him up and gave him a good old Bob Barker and said, "Come on down."
we did actually call him. We did actually call him and like, "Hey, do you want to come on?"
That was a good one, Jake.
Yeah.
But
High fives.
yeah, he. By the way, Bob Barker's not the one who says that. It's the other guy.
Oh, what's his name?
Rod something, isn't it?
In the spirit of Rod.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Hot Rod.
So again, Patreon directly supports the show. We were able to upgrade some equipment with some of the money we've got from there. We try to put out as much as we can.
we got ideas.
We do. We have some other ideas coming.
Good ideas.
The Watching Head show is just like the next iteration of something we wanted to do. That's different. That's only available to our patrons. Again, it's 3 different levels. We have a fresh meat tier, a free agents tier, and a bloodlines tier that may be expanding soon. And again, just check them out. See if it makes sense for you. We're obviously eternally grateful for anyone that listens. We actually talked about that a lot on the last patron podcast.
Yeah, I like that you said eternally because even beyond death.
Yeah, it's going to be on our headstone.
Jake, are you
We're
going to put it
grateful.
on your headstone?
I don't think you're going to because you'll be dead.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can someone put on there that he smashed some heads? Can I be the nominee or the winner for that week that I die?
You got to have a head to smash.
So you're going to die 100% before either of us.
Am I?
That's what you're saying. I don't know.
Oh, we got listeners that'll live beyond.
That are going to
us.
have say in your funeral arrangements?
Yeah.
Okay.
If my brothers, at the very least, will.
Oh, that is true. One of them is a patron.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we will be back for sure next week. We also should be doing some more Patreon exclusive stuff, maybe even this week. If you are a patron, you know that Jake and I might have another announcement soon for something else that we're doing. We'll have some more info on that soon, but we talk about that a little bit more on the last patron Redemption House podcast.
That's right.
So other than that, we'll be back next week with more free agents. We're going to wrap this up. Unless we get an announcement that season 34 is starting like really quickly, we should be able to do one episode a week. We might have to double up if some really quick premiere happens or something like that. But other than that, we'll keep doing these, and when we get an announcement about cast, theme, all that, we'll do a whole episode on that type of stuff.
Well, quick shout out to my mom for coming on the pod, and in the spirit of all the loud girls out there, have a good night, everyone!
Good yell.